Thanks for joining us tonight for another lively conversation on NERVDA's RVing in New England with John DePietro and Bob Zagami.
Come on up, John. Hey, there you are.
How are you?
Fantastic.
Special thanks to our studio announcer, Michelle, for that introduction.
Right. So we keep playing around with this new one. You did a great job on that one last week with the little flowers all around. And
yeah, totally unintentional, only because I didn't know how to take the flowers off. The whole time I'm here trying to get rid of those flowers. I think they were leaves, not flowers. To be
that's true. They were
politically correct.
It was one of the themes that they have for the background. Yeah. So there's a lot of it. Hey, Jerry, how you doing? Yeah, I feel a little bit travel worn. I think too many days the last couple of weeks up at 4 o'clock in the morning and running long days. But I left Hudson at 4 o'clock this morning to head out here to Elkhart and got a lot of work done this afternoon and more stuff tomorrow. But
anything that you can talk about maybe that show coming up?
Well, there is a show coming up in January. Hello, Maria. Thank you for joining us tonight. We may have a big surprise probably after Thanksgiving about the Boston show. We may do something at the Boston show that we have never done before. Certainly not since I've been the executive director, and certainly not since we went over to the Boston Convention Center.
So you're going to leave our guests tonight hanging?
Well, I won't leave them hanging. Let me see if I can see how well I can do this. So see if I put it up in front of me, I blocked me, but
I know, but that's good. A little bit to your left. Yeah. What is it? Now move your hands. Move your right hands. No bow. No boundaries.
That's a no boundaries travel trailer.
Okay. So, let's not do any more.
That's all I'm going to tell you.
That's enough.
That's all I'm going to tell you. I'm done for the night. You can finish the show.
We're happy. We should be happy that we have people watching tonight because there's 2 compelling events going on TV. A little bit. One right now is that
could be watching the impeachment hearings.
The show from Washington, yes.
Right.
And then there's the debate coming up, but we'll be off.
Right. That'll be at 9 o'clock.
Right. We'll be as off as those guys. Oh, but I can't talk politics.
Right. We should not.
Can't talk politics.
Should not talk politics. So,
no.
Good evening, Walter.
Hey, Walter's got a big trip coming up.
Big trip, but he looked a little skinny in that last picture. I think he's, trying to, help Donna lose her weight, and I think he's losing a little bit of weight.
He's got that new brick background that he was all excited about.
Yeah, I'm not sure what that was. Whether they moved outside the building or if he just decided to do the wall himself.
Yeah, Walter, tell us: are you going to go the 95 route, or are you going the 81 route? You can just type it in, because either way, depending on which day you go, you leave it on. Thank you for the direction to Florida. Yeah, right, exactly. Oh, Chris. Okay, that's right. Chris asked me about directions to Florida. Chris, here's my situation. We know friends that go from Massachusetts to Florida frequently, and they're 100% committed to I-95, and they're 100% committed to the ridiculous traffic between Washington and Baltimore and New York and Philadelphia and the Tappan, not the Tappan Zee. What's that other bridge, Bob? George Washington Bridge. I don't like it. I'd rather go 40 miles out of my way and be clear when it comes to, traffic. The only thing you got to watch out for if you're on 81, I'm told, is sudden snowstorms can crop up real quickly. And you are out in the middle of nowhere. You're miles and miles between exits once you get down to Southern Virginia.
We'll talk about sudden snowstorms. There's snow on the side of the road here. They had 16 inches last week. They called it lake effect, and I guess it came off it was up there, Lake Michigan or whatever, but right in this Elkhart area. So they got these little piles of snow. I'm going down the road and saying, 16 inches in one day.
Okay, let me just say one more thing to Walter, then we'll go to Las Vegas. Walter, you're only going 81 to Richmond, so you're going 81 down to 64 and then coming back. Why don't you keep going a little bit more down to 77 and then come into Charlotte and then go through there to Columbia, South Carolina, jump on 26. It'll take you to 95 right in Georgia, right in the middle of Georgia.
Jerry's
and then you don't have to deal with any of that northern traffic.
Yeah, Jerry's got another variation of that, 81 to Winchester, Virginia, then cut over to 95, not to Fredericksburg. That's still pretty high up, though.
Yeah, it's way up. You know, north of Fredericksburg, then you still have to go through Richmond. And, or maybe not. No, I think you do. I think you do. But that's where the worst traffic is. Yep. That area between Richmond and Washington that I don't care what time of day it is. It's always a hassle. Walter, you're not pulling the trailer. You're just driving a car, I think. So that's
trailer's gone to bed for the winter.
Yep. So Zagami, wait a minute. Is that you on the marquee at Caesar's Palace?
No, that's Jerry Seinfeld. But he does look a lot like me.
You do look a lot like him.
Yeah, he did. What a complex. It was amazing. I was walking 10,000 steps a day, easy. My room was 20 minutes from the convention center.
Okay. Now tell people, first of all, officially why you were in Las Vegas.
Officially attending the RV Dealers Association Convention and Exposition, which is the #1 most important event for dealers every year, where they get together to have education sessions and seminars and workshops and network with their peers and see an exhibit hall full of new vendors, some of that I met with to bring them to New England for dealer training and the like. So it's a very, very productive week. There's 1,700 people there. I haven't got the breakdown yet as to how many were dealers and how many were association people.
But we have video footage of you sleeping till noon every day, then going to the all-you-can-eat buffet till 3 o'clock, and then being on the gambling tables from 5 o'clock to midnight. How do you answer that, sir?
Must have been my twin brother. We started at 7:30 in the morning. We finished at 9:30 at night, and I was there for Sunday through Friday. I did not put even $1 into a slot machine, and I had to go through the casino on the way over to the convention center. I had to go through 3 of them, and on the way back, and decided to keep my money in my pocket.
Did they give you one of those little battery scooters that you could go around the floors with?
Did not need the scooter, but they were there were plenty in attendance. Let's put it that way. That and the oxygen mask and the
smoking.
They were smoking all over the place. Terrible. But I do have one here that I think you'll find interesting. If I can, have to work. I had to go out and buy a crappy little mouse because I left my mouse home. But let me kill that one. And I'm not sure. I think I don't know if I posted it or if I sent it to friends.
Now is that pizza? How much the pizza? $49.99.
$48.99
for pizza, or $9 a slice.
Right, $9 a slice. $48.99. The pricing out there, the days of going to Vegas and having free buffets and free everything, they're long gone. They cannot afford to do it. One person at the hotel told me, and Caesars is big. It's got Caesars, it's got their fountains, it's got big spas out back. It's got the forum shops, 160 high-level, top-shelf shops. Told me that it costs $17 million a day to keep that place open. So imagine what you have to sell or what they have to gamble to do $17 million. But can you imagine $49 for...
The thing that I was told, the people that buy the stuff in those shops, they use their winnings from the casino. So they can put any price tag like the shirt you got on, say it said Caesar's Palace. They could charge $49 for that shirt, and somebody would have $25 in chips, turn it in, and then mentally they only paid $25 for that shirt.
Well, you're right. Because I asked the guy with all these luxury stores, and I mean they're just one after the other. And
Yeah.
there were no price tags in the window at all.
Yeah.
And they said that's exactly what happens. They don't have those stores for the people walking the strip. They're for the people that win in the casino. They come over there with their chips and they buy the stuff with the chips. It's like funny money, but they don't even realize what they're spending or what they're giving up on it. So that's what they did.
While we're talking RVs and while we're talking Las Vegas, let's have our guests, anybody who's watching right now, if you have RV'd in Las Vegas, just let us know over on the columns there, because there are several RV. I don't know if you probably didn't even get out of the hotel to go around.
I got out one night for 3 hours just to take some pictures, like the one on the bottom left. I did walk around the first night. Once it started Monday morning, I was there until I left for the airport Friday morning.
Yeah, I don't know if Sam's Town still has their casino. Excuse me, the campground, and Circus had a campground. And when I say campground, it's just a parking lot with a plug-in.
I think the Circus one is a KOA now.
Oh, that's right. You're right.
Laurie and Michelle checked in. Now, Michelle, why didn't you call me? Because the Chubby Trout is right out in front of my hotel, and I would have had you guys bring me over at Jack Daniels. I got back to my room late, so I've got to drink root beer tonight. But the Chubby Trout, and actually you could have called me earlier, and I probably could have come over for an appetizer, but we were putting the show together, and I got back late. So, the Chubby Trout is right in front of my hotel. Al Jackson, thanks for joining us. Been a while. Glad I caught the show tonight. Well, that's great. And I'm not sure if it's Brian or Mike. Could have gone to 2 other places in town for way better food. You need to get away from the tourist traps.
Which is true, but Mike, I will say this. Bob is one of the few guys that I know that when he goes to a convention, he goes from the opening bell to the closing bell. And there's very little wasted time at the bar, and there's very little wasted time on activities that don't have to do specifically with that. I would have probably checked in and then went up to the Stratosphere up there and went around on that. What's that place? Stratosphere?
The Links. Oh no, the Stratus. Yeah, the Stratus. Yeah.
And now they got that big.
Now they got the Ferris wheel. Yeah.
Yeah. Now they got the big Ferris wheel, and they got the monorail, and all that stuff. So what were the highlights of the convention?
Brian must think I paid for the food. See, I don't pay for anything here, Brian. Everything was in the hotel. Everything was paid for, so I didn't have to go off the strip. But you're right. If you want to spend the time and go off strip, you can find some great deals. You can drive a half hour out of town and be just like if we were in Hartford. Yeah. Okay.
So hypothetical situation. You've been given 30 seconds to say what was the highlight of the RVDA convention. How would you summarize some of the activities that the consumer would have an interest in, not necessarily dealer stuff, but what were the consumer highlights of the convention?
The thing that's going to be most important for the consumers is the repair event cycle time. That's going to be
so tell people what that means.
Bear with me.
Oh, it's got a slide. I feel a slide coming on.
Let me see.
So basically, while you're doing that, I'll tell them the repair event cycle time is the time that it takes from the time that our consumers walk into the service department of their local dealership and then get their unit back. And that is frustrating. I'm sure everyone would agree when you bring it in and they say, well, we don't have that part. It'll take 2 weeks. So depending upon what the repair is, you got to either come back 2 weeks or leave your unit there if the repair has been significant enough that they've had to remove parts to get to the part that isn't working. So it's the goal of the industry, Bob, am I right, to turn this cycle around so you spend to get...
Yeah, we're going to be able to measure, and the dealers are going to be able to measure, and the 3 predominant dealer management software products that these guys use, either IDS, Motility, or CDK Global, are building dashboards for this information. So they'll be reporting the condition of the unit when it comes in and what the customer requested for attention. The initiation of a repair order that's automatically triggered in the system, the diagnostics, the identification of any parts, the parts ordering, getting the parts, the repair schedule, the repair event itself, the final inspection, and delivery back to the customer. Right now, that could be anywhere from 21 days to 10 months, depending on what they do.
So Bob, what if that was the case in the automotive business? What would happen in that case? It just doesn't happen that way. They get parts the next day.
It doesn't happen, and that's why I say we're gonna spend a lot of time talking about this year, because I think the steps that they've taken just since they initiated this program are monumental. I met with all three of those software companies. They have dashboards out there, but they will be able to tell the person, the product that they brought in, the brand, the manufacturer, the brand, the parts that they had to replace. They'll have everything tracked. So you'll be able to have a report that shows exactly when it came in, and you'll be able to compare your brands. So if you sell 4 different brands of product, the dealer is going to be able to sit there and look at the repair requirements of all those 4 brands. And if one of them is way out of whack with the other 3, and you're a good dealer, you're going to drop that product line, because he's going to have concrete information to go back to the manufacturer and say, I'm repairing your units 3 times more often than I am somebody else's or these other ones, and show them in the report, not just the brand, but down to the exact model and the floor plan on how to do it. So it's deep. So we're going to spend a lot of time on that this year.
Okay, so now you've got that situation set up that the process is sped up, at least from between the dealership and the manufacturer, that the manufacturer is getting the parts out to them quicker.
Right.
What about dealing with the fact that every RV dealership that you go to has a sign in the back saying techs wanted? How do you get more people that know what the heck they're doing at the dealership, so that our retail customers are not having their unit sit there for 21 to 45 days in the middle of the summer, which is ridiculous? And solve that problem.
Well, we're getting there. On the RV Technical Institute, they released a couple of new curriculums. I'm going over there on Friday morning for an update meeting with them on these new programs, as far as they've already certified their first 2 training centers around the country. So there'll be regional training. But again, it's moving. I'll tell you, it's moving much faster than I thought it would. When you look at how slow it's moved the last 20 years, there has been significant activity. And I just got word this morning that Gary Enyart, who's the chairman of RVIA, who was spearheaded this whole campaign the last 2 years, he's the VP of Cummins, Onan, and they just reelected him as the chairman. So that's how important this is. They want to keep him in place because he's the driving force behind a lot of this information. We're getting fast.
You got some good comments here, Bob.
Yeah, we're getting some really good comments here. Maria, we got that. Yeah, we get out of the direction. So did we ever find out if Walter's going to Key West or not?
I don't know. Walter, where are you going? No, Walter, where are you going? Walter's here because he's
at Florida. Yeah.
He's going to Florida, but I don't know where.
Yeah, Jerry says can't miss south of the border. Jerry, the last time I was at south of the border was 50 years ago. But John, you said it's still there, right?
Yeah, I was there, and I think it was 50 years ago was the last time they cleaned the bathrooms there. Although we do have friends that did stay at the RV park across the street, the ones that travel from New England to Florida to the villages.
Jerry says dealer pushes down, small trailers up. Yes, but this isn't a rolling stock show, Jerry. This is all education, workshop, seminar. Now, there was some units in the exhibit hall, because some of the manufacturers like to bring 1 or 2 units to try to sign up new dealers, because the cream of the crop of the dealers there. And speaking about dealers, we only had, and I addressed this with our dealers, and we'll be talking to them again, but believe it or not, we only had 6 of our 35 dealers go to this convention.
Why do you think that is, that number?
I don't know. I'm going to do a survey with them to find out what the resistance is, but we had probably, I'm going to guess we had 600 dealer people there, and probably represented on an average maybe 300, 350 dealers. There was some, like our 6 dealers brought a combined total of 15 people. But
okay. But see,
one of my friends who owns a dealership in New York brought 13 people from his dealership. Because there are sessions for service managers, backroom operations, F&I. There's a young executive track. So if you're an older couple that owns a dealership and you got family members coming through for the next generation, there's an entire track for the young executives to get them involved, to get them trained. I'm telling you, there is nothing like it on it.
Well, see, this is not a new convention. It's been going on for 25 or 30 years. So It surprises me that the numbers weren't that great. And, we're going into the slow season for November and December, at least. And, Jerry Walter put down, Jerry put down when I talked about the fact that the repair time, I don't think it's the dealer issue as much as the fact that it's the manufacturer issue that they can't even track where their order is to find out where the part is.
Well, that's the other part of this is they identify every part. Now, one of the other things that's going on that the consumers won't see, depending on how close they are to their service people, but 3 manufacturers right now have signed up with one of the largest distributors called NTP Stag. And NTP Stag is cooperating on this program. They are actually stocking the parts. So people like Jayco, Heartland, somebody else is a third one. Their dealers can order from NTP Stag, and some of these companies have 15,000 common parts in stock at NTP Stag for the next day delivery. So again, this whole, everybody's talking to each other about how they're going to work this, but the dealers are actually going to have an increased performance in getting the parts from NTP Stag overnight. In some cases, some of the manufacturers are doing free delivery on them. So you're going to see an uptick, because that's one of the things people are going to be watching. Who's got after you sell the unit, who's got the parts to fix it? Who gets them to the dealer fast enough so that the customer is out of the shop in 2 or 3 days, not 2 or 3 weeks. So that again is something that's going to be, I think it's going to be very exciting to watch it.
Exactly. And there's some interesting comments we have here. Two Feathers is saying he's got people going out to Elkhart. And where is it here? Classes start on January 6th. We have our first student from our shop going to the Elkhart Center. And look at, that's a beautiful place. Bob and I have been there a couple months ago. And what's he saying? Allowing up to 30 students. The cost is between $8,000 and $10,000 per student, and are waiving the fees for the first course for their test period. They have 18 students counting hours, so they know more about it than we do.
No, that's why I'm going over Friday to get the update on that.
Yeah,
because there was a trial run of another course that I talked to one of the dealers out in Las Vegas, and he thought there were going to be a lot of people, and he sent 2 people. They wound up being the only 2 people in the class, and it wasn't quite ready for prime time. So we want to see where that is. I don't see Brian's comment.
It's there. He says small shops can't afford a Vegas trip. Elkhart is fair price, for example, except it costs more to fly to Elkhart than it does to Vegas. That's kind of weird. The travel system is set up in the United States. It's easy to go from New York to LA or New York to Chicago or Boston to Chicago. But when you want to try to get to South Bend or Elkhart, you pay the price of a European flight.
Yeah. Walt, I've been sending Frank information about some of the vocational high school stuff that is out there and some of the things that we can do locally to go out and make presentations. And I'm always happy to do that. In our regional high schools, vocational training schools. Okay, there's Brian's. Classes start January 6th. I don't know where that $8,000 to $10,000 came from, unless that's counting airfare, hotel, and there. That sounds pretty high. I don't think we're going to see training courses at that level because nobody's going to go if it's $8,000 or $10,000.
Now, another thing that's interesting about this topic is that we're seeing more and more in the mainstream media lately, especially in the last few weeks, is that we have been considering if our kid wanted to go the trade school route, that they were the dumb kids that were doing that. Those were the kids that couldn't go to college. Now we're finding that parents are saying, look, go to the trade school route, because you'll be making $40 an hour by the time you're 21 years old, and you won't be $150,000 to $200,000 in debt if you go to a liberal arts college and then decide you don't know what you want to do. So
it's a big turnaround on that.
And it should be.
Yep,
absolutely.
Yeah. Go ahead, John. I'm going to go through this.
So what we want to do is we're at that time of day where we say thank you so much for taking the time to be with us, whether you're watching us live or whether you're watching us on tape, on delay. But please take a moment to share this on Facebook. And last week we're up to, I don't know, we had 1,000 views before we even got off the air last week. So somebody was sharing it while we were doing it. But it's the only way that we can get the message out is through our great viewers like you folks to take the time to hit that share button, send it to somebody who's already into RVing, or more importantly, somebody who's thinking of going into the RV lifestyle, and we'd welcome them to our audience.
Okay. I'm going to take exception to one of Brian's comments here. Brian says, small shops cannot afford a Vegas trip. 100% wrong, Brian. The cost of a Vegas trip might be $1,000. And within 90 days, if the person goes out there, the dealer goes out, even if they send one person, you are going to find information in that week that is going to return that $1,000 5 to 10 times. And there was one class that I sat in on, and the dealer next to me said, "This didn't save me money.
It made me money."
No, he said, "This saved my dealership."
Well, that's interesting.
Some of the legal aspects of what's going on in the industry. So there is information in this conference. I defy anybody to go out there and come back. I'm almost willing to, put up some money next year for first timers to say, go out to this conference, and if you don't get your money's worth, if you don't think you got money's worth, then NRVDA will write you back a check.
We're not covering their bar bill.
Right, not the bar bill. We're going to be talking about that at the board level, and they're going to be talking about that around the country. Because
Bob, I think it's important to point out one thing here.
Small dealers there.
You and I both come from industries outside of the RV industry, and so many of our people that are watching right now that I see on the list on the right are they're RVing for fun, and they're involved in other industries. And conventions can be great, or they can be a waste of time, depending upon the attitude that the person takes when they go to a convention. There are distractions in Las Vegas that if you're not serious about the reason you're going, you can spend your whole time at a bar or the equivalent. But if you're serious and you go to the events and you take notes and listen and don't stay up till 4 o'clock in the morning, then it's worth your while. Then, like Belichick says, every away game is a business trip. And these conventions are not necessarily made for entertainment. They're made for education and learning.
No, and you're right. And there were a lot of people that didn't, they were coming in when I was going to the first morning session.
I know. So the crazy thing, the thing that I find absolutely crazy is the folks that go out to drink and make fools of themselves. And look, I drink, but if I'm going out to get drunk, I'm not going to wear a shirt that says who I work for. So,
they don't. That's right. They don't
tell everybody, if you're going to get drunk and get crazy and throw up all over the place, don't be wearing the jersey or the shirt of the company that you work for. It's not good, because everybody in Vegas has a camera, and what happens in Vegas doesn't necessarily stay there anymore.
Let me show you a couple of people that worked real hard this week. Last week, now Scott Silva down the bottom right may not look like he's working hard, but he was actually getting some information on a new system, what we call an asset management system, that allows the dealers to find out where the unit is anywhere on the lot. And
what's he wearing?
Huh?
What's he wearing?
His Cold Springs shirt and a backpack.
No, but he's got a backpack with a Jayco.
He's got a backpack. and that's our
With a
good friend.
Jayco chair on his back, it looks
Yeah.
like.
Yeah, that's our good friend Neil Portnoy, who now lives in Las Vegas. Used to live next to John or close to John in Holden, Mass. And he's rocking the town out there. I mean, we went out to dinner one night, and they come over, and he's a celebrity. And he's got. Anytime you go out to dinner with Neil, he always draws a caricature for the
Waiter
or waitress. Yeah. On the left-hand side, we only had one of our dealers qualify for the top 50 award. So they evaluate dealers every year based on a large amount of data that they supply. And Campers in RV was the only one of our dealers in New England that was so recognized in the top 50. And on the very far left,
Jeff Hirsch, one of the few guys who still wears a tie.
Yeah, Jeff always wears a suit and tie at this conference, right?
Yeah.
On the left is Greg Four, who is one of the owners of RV Business Magazine. Ben Hirsch, the COO, Jeff Hirsch, and Dean Craig, who received an award for some certification that he received this year. And then on the right, our good friend Sherm Goldenberg. Also, that picture behind Neil and Scott, that is actually Lee's Family Trailer Sales up in Maine, who is with that system. You can't see, well, it may be shown there over one of the units.
Oh,
So,
it is Lee's.
Yeah, those two guys were working. And I think I have to go out to my desktop to get.
Now, why does Scott have sunglasses on? Was he one of those guys that stayed up till the wee hours?
Neil made him put them on. He did come walking into the display with them, and he took them off to sit down for the caricature. And Neil caught that, so he said, "No, put them back on." So he drew him with his sunglasses on.
Yeah.
So
What was I saying here? Sherm, Jeff. I forgot.
Okay. Do me a favor, John. Go through some comments.
Okay.
I want to pull some stuff from my desktop that I didn't pull yet. So go ahead.
Yep. Let's see. Other trade schools cost $30,000. So it's all our friend Brian here. Welders in North Dakota, Jerry says, make six figures. It's NTP, Stag shifting over to Keller as they've been doing great. Winnebago at our shop for a while. Two gals. Jose says, hello. We will need to consider going for next year and take our shop's vintage bus. So they'll have that one done by then. Fantastic topic. Looks like the guy is drawing a picture of him. Look at the color pens to them. Yeah, you know what? He does everything. Neil is absolutely amazing, Brian. He does everything with magic marker. And, no pencils, no crayons, just magic marker. So I wanted to say something here, but I forgot what it was. I know it was intelligent, but I forgot what it was. And I'll think of it in a minute here. What are we talking about here? About getting people to go to work. But anyway, we do want to thank everybody who tunes in regularly. There's something else going on. There's the back of somebody.
That's the back of Jeff Hirsch, and I want to bring these up because, again, one of the...
You sure that Jeff with a sport coat?
That's Jeff with a sport coat, and if you look straight across from Jeff, you'll see Ben, and to the right of Ben is Steve Flagg.
Oh, yeah.
That's in the left picture. In the right picture, the second one in from the left is Jim Taro from Arlington RV. Now, this was how we started the week on Monday. They do what's called the state delegate luncheon, and they present what's going on in Washington, what's going on with the Outdoor Recreation Roundtable, what's going on with national parks. And we have 6 state delegates, obviously, in New England. So Jimmy is Rhode Island. Yep. Massachusetts is Steve Flagg. Maine is Linda Mailhot. New Hampshire is Scott Silver. Vermont is Logan Gregoire. Connecticut is Chris Andro. And Massachusetts is Steve Flagg. So of those, we had Steve, Jimmy, Scott, Yeah, we had and Chris Andros. We had 4 out of the 6 state delegates. But what we're showing here is they had breakout sessions with those 3 leading dealer management software companies, and what the software company was doing here was explaining to them what they were showing in their display in terms of their RECT dashboard and reports. So you can see that, I mean, it was very serious stuff. These guys were they were paying attention, and that was 2 of the 3. And then the third one, you can see Chris Andrew on the far left is Scott Silver. Right next to him is Chris Andrew. So that's CDK software on the right. On the left with Jeff Hirsch, that's Steve Flagg and Jeff and Ben Hirsch. That's a software product called Motility, and Jim Taro uses one called IDS. So chances are, from consumers, your dealer is using one of those 3 softwares. So this was really serious stuff that they were doing there. Now, on a lighter note, we did have. Wait a minute.
Uh-oh.
Go down. Come up. Okay. This was the board of directors meeting for the RV Women's Alliance. And straight in the center is Susan Carpenter, who is the president of the group. And to her right is Jordan Foose, who is the vice president and membership. So they were going over their goals, and they have a meeting.
Bob, you can take me off to make those pictures bigger if you want. I don't mind.
No, that's all right. I think they're pretty good size on there. And I've been supporting this group since the day they started. And sure enough, they got around to asking why, because I was one of 2 guys that were there. The other one was Chad Reese from Winnebago, not counting Chris Cello from RV Pro, who was doing a story on it. And so one of the women asked me why I was there all the time. And I said very simply, I've got a wife and 2 daughters who had to fight the male-oriented world and became very successful and are very successful despite everything, all the challenges put in front of them. So to the extent that, and I know you feel the same way with your daughters and your wife, this industry is an old white man's industry, and it's got to change. And there's some really great women on this panel. So I probably spoke a little bit too much because I was saddled with one of the committees. So I am the only guy in the RVWA group that is going to be heading up one of them. I think it might be membership or promotions. Marketing. I think I'm going to help them with their marketing on that. So that was another meeting that we attended. So let's switch gears. Did you find anything interesting in these comments? I'll have to go through them afterwards.
No, Walter brought up something. It says, need to start recruiting boomers, quote unquote, who want a career change, might be an option. Well, I think Audrey Foley, Egan Foley, whatever, Audrey said she might have an interest in that. I think she said that. I know she said she wanted to go full time after she gets done, commuting on 128 every day. But there's no reason that people that are knowledgeable about the RV lifestyle, meaning they own one, that I believe that most of our dealers would love to have you come in on a part-time basis to sell. Doesn't mean you have to do everything. But if you're approaching retirement and want to still be active, and I think everybody agrees today that when people reach retirement age, this new generation of retirees is not one, like my friend Michelle Wright sings, I'm not ready for the rocking chair.
Well, it's interesting because part of the program in terms of recruiting new techs is retired people, military people, kids right out of high school to do that. But there's also people that might, if they go snowbird in Florida in the winter, that could get a part-time job if they're a technician up north or if they're handy.
Yep.
They can get a part-time job. You don't have to work 40 hours a week. Maybe working a couple of days a week at a dealership. So there's going to be a lot of information coming out about stuff like that also. I want to go back.
There's 2 points that just made. Audrey said, I'm a senior software QA engineer, whatever that means, what? Quality assurance engineer, would love to find an RV industry new career. Okay. Now, Audrey has 3 things going for her she doesn't even know about yet. Well, 2 that I know of. Number 1, she's a woman. And the fact is that more than 50% of the buying decisions in the RV industry, in the RV buying world, are made by women, because the guys will find out about how big the engine is. And, they say, well, the women have to, handle the interior decorating. That is baloney. That is not true anymore. Women are buying their own RVs. And I believe, I've read some studies that women trust women salespeople more than men. Why? I don't know. The other thing is this. She's been an RVer for 25 or 30 years or longer. Who else better to learn about usage of an RV and than people who already use it?
Well, I think there's going to be opportunities, again, with this RECT. And I'm actually, Audrey, if you want to grab a cup of coffee someday with John and I, we can give you some pretty good ideas.
Audrey'd rather have a beer, Bob.
Well, I'm all for that.
Yeah. Right, Audrey? Beer or coffee, you say.
Especially after my root beer tonight. But I'm actually helping one other woman who has worked for a dealership and wants to get back in the industry and likes the idea of this repair event cycle time, because she does know the ins and outs of a dealership, and she wants to be a trainer, go around to help these 3 software companies have people on their staff who came out of dealerships, who know the soft spots of the dealership, but also know the improvements in the new software dashboards, and to do training on stuff like that. So there's going to be some interesting career opportunities there.
But you know what? I think many people have the capabilities today to make their own career opportunity. And every dealership that I go to, every dealership without exception, always says to me, who do you know that wants to come sell for me? Who do you know that wants to come sell? And there's enough in central New England that everybody here that we're looking at here could not even step on each other's toes if they wanted to get into sales.
I want to slide up just for a minute, because I know Brian put something in there about a Winnebago.
Yep, been there since June
3rd. Brian, send me an email on that. I am meeting with Winnebago tomorrow, but I'm going to be touring their towables plant. Obviously not Forest City. If you got a motorhome, then that's out at Forest City,
Iowa.
But but I'm going to be touring and meeting with the management team at Winnebago Towables tomorrow to talk about dealers in New England, maybe getting more of them, and seeing what they are doing up in New England. But if it's a towable by chance, I will lay it on the table tomorrow morning and find out exactly where your part is. I suspect it's probably a motorhome, but send me an email overnight, and I will be glad to check in.
Okay. So Mike asked a question: is there a group here in our area for women that own or manage at RV dealers? My wife is asking, as she knows. Well, he's out in Greenfield, right? Somewhere out there.
Probably out in Deerfield. Yeah.
Okay, then he should be able to call up our friend at Gander, Jess.
Jess Druin, yeah.
Yep. Who's the GM there?
So what we can do? Who asked that? Brian?
Mike.
Maybe Lisa asked it.
No, Mike.
Where the hell is it? Mike.
Is there? It's down at the bottom.
Mike. Well, that's Brian. Is there a group here in our area for women that own or manage at RV dealers? Yes, the RV Women's Alliance, and we did one cocktail reception for them already. We are going to do another one, probably after the holidays, probably after January, because there'll be so many holiday parties now. It might be tough to get space.
You can say Christmas.
I can put you in touch. Actually, have Lisa go to rvwa.org. That is the RV Women's Alliance group. You can join that group online. You can look for mentors. They have mentors that will help you, or you can become a mentor if you have a skill set for other women. So start there, Lisa, and get questions, get a hold of me. But we'll be doing another meeting. We did one. We had about 13 people there. We will have at some point they're going to have regional chapters, but for right now we're doing regional cocktails.
Okay.
Imagine we did regional cocktails and Audrey didn't show up.
So who's got the Navion? Who's Two Feathers? Is that Mike or Brian?
That's Brian. No, Mike is Brian's father, but they use that.
Okay.
But he set up earlier. It's Brian and Lisa.
So his unit is a Navion. So he should be able to get a hold of Russ.
What, the unit that's been in this since June 3rd?
Yep. No, it's a Navion, he says. It's not a travel trailer. We have a direct link with an exec on that RV. No, it is a Navion. So if you've got a direct link, what's going on? Tell me what part it is.
Right. Tell us.
Tell me what part it is right now.
And we'll make some phone calls out to Forest City for you.
I mean, is the customer unable to use the vehicle since June? I mean, I would have been pounding on a desk by July 4th.
That's why RECT is so important, because those are the things that are going to be unmasked, and those are the things that are going to be reported on, and people will start to do a better job. They have to. It's just the nature of what they're doing. Can you believe it's 7:46 already? I can't. I'm not sure if two gals and are still on.
They were tired.
They were tired.
Yeah, we have a direct link. We have the fridge in, but waiting on a power inverter. Okay, how old is that? How old is that Navion? Customer, yes, lawyer is now getting on board. Yeah, well, before you go the lawyer route, that'll just hold things up even more. Send Bob your address, and we can give you.
Send me more information. I'll guide you through on that one. Let's look at a couple of things. One of the reasons that I am out here is tomorrow they will be taping the RV of the Year show over at the Hall of Fame. And Sandy, Joe and you were here. Okay, good to see you. Steps have rusted away. All right, just send me a recap of that, Brian, so we have it. But anyways, tomorrow at the Hall of Fame, they will be taping the RV Show of the Year, which will be broadcast on Rolling on TV. That's why two gals, and that's why Michelle and Laurie are out here, and Jose's out here, and Sandy's out here, and his daughter's out here. And the big production crew, I went over there this afternoon, they were all setting up. But they're going to be unveiling the RV of the Year. So if you're still on the program tonight, do not go away, because the last thing I'm going to do tonight is I'm going to spill the beans and show you what they're going to unveil. It's sitting over there in under a curtain. And I have permission from Jose to do this.
You are going to spill the beans.
I am going to spill the beans. But some of the ones that came under consideration, and actually, this was pretty good, John. We did a good job at Elkhart, because a lot of these will look like repeats to people, but these were the same units that caught our eye out there. Yep. And that's a $600,000 Newmar, I think. That's a $600,000 Super C, and that was one of the ones under considering where they say top RV debut. But that Super C is getting a lot of attention, and that, by the way, has a built-in. One of the vendors I saw out here was Transcore. Transcore is the company that developed Easy Pass that we all use, and they unveiled an RV Easy Pass. And unlike Easy Pass,
that's right,
which isn't accepted in all 50 states, the RV one is accepted in all 50 states. So no more swapping between cars and getting penalties. But there's a whole Easy Pass coming out. This Newmar actually has it built in, so they're building it into the Newmar for the customers. The other one is that fold-up little camper that kind of unfolds, and you can store it in your garage. That was the Outdoors Camp 365 product. So those was some of the ones that were under consideration. Let me kill that and put two more up here. Have to be careful not to spill the beans on. Whoops, where'd you go, John? 1 second here. Oh, Mark Lucas, yeah. Let me, yep, yes, on the aluminum, right.
Aluminum frame.
Okay, there you're back. Okay, so the new camp area on the top right, the new camp area, which has kind of like the boat-like interior, that was one of the ones under consideration. And the Keystone Sprinter 3610 with the front kitchen, that was another one that was under consideration, which obviously is not the number one. And let me see if I can navigate over here, pull that down, see if I can do this without pulling John down again, and then go back over here. Boom, boom, boom. Okay. Yeah, I still got some more over here. Is that and that. So that was that's the Winnebago Solus, the Class B with the raised roof, which we pointed out before, and the Nitro XLF, which is kind of an off-road vehicle for Forest River. That was another that was out there for consideration. And let me pull that. And oops, I just did it again. I'm sorry, John. Hang on. I will take you back up there. Yeah, you only. I don't either because you only exactly unless he's investigated it and there's something different.
Well, I don't know. I mean,
I didn't get. I talked to the vice president. I didn't. I didn't get.
I don't know how that works when you have a travel trailer versus a motorhome.
I don't either.
You must have. Do you pay? Do you pay for the trailer too? Is it separate?
No,
I don't know.
I think it's just. Well, no, it is for motorhomes and trailers. I do remember that. So I'm not sure what his point of reference is for.
Yep. Are you going to look at that holiday house? Well, I don't know who you're talking to on that one because we saw it back in September at the RV Hall of Fame.
Yeah, we know all about the holiday house and Mark Lucas, and he is looking for dealers, and it would kind of fit in your sweet spot in terms of being able to talk restorations and have the new ones on the lot, similar that were built in a similar fashion. So I think you'd probably stand a pretty good chance on getting that dealership, Brian, if you decide to go that way. Oh, there it is. I'm trying to get rid of this damn thing.
Walter says there's a monthly maintenance charge for the account. I'll have to check my statement. I didn't realize there was. They must have just instituted that.
I've had mine for so long. I don't even look at the statement.
We'll have to check on that. Anybody else have a see? Because I have a separate one on my RV than I have for the car because it's a different category.
Right.
So I do pay more for it, but.
So two of the other ones under consideration were the Integra Rialta, which was a diesel pusher, less expensive, and the Woodland Park Bryce Canyon Park model actually got a nomination there. So that was pretty good. So we are at 754. I think there's two more that let me just get rid of. Let me get that one out and put this one up. So, and the Crossroads Cruiser Air unit was the other one that was under consideration. And I think that's everything except for the number one unit. So if I can pull.
Drum roll, please.
Pull that.
The winner of the RV of the year is.
This is the first time shown live on online TV. The end of the day, this unit, which is now under wraps, when they get all done going through all the incidentals and introducing everybody, and Rick Kessler from RV Business Magazine will be the moderator, along with one of the local radio TV personalities here.
Rick is going on camera?
Yeah, he did it last year. Did a good job. Yeah.
Jeff?
Huh?
No, Jeff?
No. Rick does it, and him and
folks, you all know Rick. He's the one who usually joins us about 10 minutes before we're ready to leave.
He's probably over there practicing his speech right now.
Trying to get taller.
Right. So they gave him a little box to stand on. So it's set up really nice. So, got a drum roll there, John? The RV of the year is the Venture RV Sonic X travel trailer. A lot of new material, lightweight material, but this is an off-road boondocking trailer. So you've seen a lot, we've shown you a lot of the boondocking motorhomes and what makes them popular, the lithium batteries and the solar panels. And this vehicle was actually shown as a concept vehicle at RVX, which was back in Salt Lake City. And they were just they built it to show some new materials and what the future might look like. Well, the reception of the concept vehicle at RVX was so overwhelming, they decided to put it into production and get one ready for dealer open house. So it is going to just start coming off the production line in the next month or two. So what they did, they had to take some cost out of it, because the one that they showed at the show at RVX was about $50,000, which is the kind of lot of money for a travel trailer. But everybody says, well, they're cheap and they fall apart. And yeah, when you spend $15,000 or $20,000, that you have to take some money out of them somewhere. It's going to come out of materials. So
what's this one going to sticker at?
They actually took about $10,000 out of it. So this is going to sticker at about $40,000. But this has got 400 watts of solar power on the top. It's got lithium
on the roof, yeah.
It's got a higher road clearance. Those little blue bumpers that you see, they call them Nerf bumpers, are all around. They got bike racks. They've got all kinds of things in this, and there's 3 or 4 different models. And Jeff Wozniak at Mans will be carrying this unit. We are talking. I will not be able to meet with them this week, but we are talking to the manufacturer and to Jeff to see if we can get one into the Boston show. So that is pretty much a wrap. We covered a lot of stuff, and we got a ton of comments, and I apologize. We probably didn't get to anywhere near. It looks like Brian wrote a thesis here tonight, so I'm going to have to go back and respond to his. And Brian, again, send me an email on that Winnebago. We'll look at that. But with all of these questions, and after I meet with Kurt Hemmler at RVTI on Friday morning, maybe if you're going to be around Monday or Tuesday, maybe I'll come out for lunch and go over the RVTI stuff and see what you're doing, and just get to
or take them over to Gander too.
Yeah,
take them out to Gander too.
Introduce them over to Jess. Yeah. So any closing? Man, I don't know where this hour went.
No, I just, you know what? This is such a pleasure to have a group of people that we can, walk into a show totally unprepared and get a full show out of it because of the comments that our viewers have come up with. And I think it's a very special relationship. I'm overjoyed with our great audience, and they do a better job than you or I do. Individually.
They do.
You know what we should do someday, once we figure out the technology, when we get a guest slot open, let them know the website, the link, and they can click on it. We can, have Walter on for a few minutes, then have Jerry on for a few minutes, have Audrey on for a few minutes, and go from there. We'll do that. We promise we'll do that. But we should tell people we won't have a show next week because we will be prepping for Thanksgiving.
Right. We're going to take take the week off because we'll be helping our wives and families get ready for Thanksgiving. So there'll be a week off there. But you're right, John. Maybe when we come back, because we do have the ability now to have call-in guests and
Sure.
video guests. So it might be fun to do that just one night and take people coming in and going out and let them ask their questions. Let them come on, be on screen, and ask the questions of the fans that they've been communicating with every week. All right, so enjoy your Thanksgiving. We will see you the week after Thanksgiving, and enjoy the rest of the week.
Have a great day, everybody.
Bye now.